heck? This is so irritating. I don't know if it's working or if it's not working or what's going on, but oh my heck. Okay, is it actually working now? I'm so sick of like not being able to uh, driving me nuts. So sorry guys. It's so hard. Yeah, it's not my fault, but it's still a pain in my butt. It's like I'm super losing my drive right now, and that's not fun. But yeah, I'm just using some clip curve brush to kind of streamline the shape some, just kind of knocking off little bits and pieces here and there. And then I can use my trim dynamic to kind of wear down edges, and then I'll use smooth to just kind of even everything out. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, we've got some other things to kind of go through and block in, so that's going to stand as good enough for now. I have no idea what's going on with the cloth. I suspect that those lines are his way of going through and creating this feeling of folds. Because I mean, it makes sense that there would be folds kind of coming down around the neck like that. I'm not entirely sure how these folds going around this piece would go, if it's supposed to be kind of like a poofy sort of thing. If that's the case, then I've got to think about a nice stylized way to be able to achieve that. And I think I can figure that out. That should be just fine. In fact, I might even use some good clean topology to be able to make that happen. This is not going out far enough. Let's go ahead and do something like this. I'm trying to make sure that I keep the shape very, very streamlined. And that's starting to work. Okay. So let's keep working, because I feel like we've got some other things to accomplish before we call it a stream. Let's go ahead and pull this over, stretch it out some. Yeah, this should have had Dynamesh on it, but it looks like it doesn't at the moment. Okay, good. Just need to check and see that that resolution would be enough. Okay, I'm going to go ahead. Let's So I'm going to pull this down, make this piece come out from behind the ear, and then we'll make this piece come down closer to the ear. Kind of cover it up and cover that area just a little bit better. Okay. Go ahead and kind of play with some of this flow, some of this shape. Smooth that out so that it's not so faceted. This needs to go up more into the rest of the hair. Okay. Let's block in that hat. Did we already start blocking in the hat at one point? I think we did, right? No? Yeah, we did start blocking in the hat. Okay. So this is obviously very wrong, and we're going to want to kind of do something very intentional with it to be able to make sure that it is doing what we want it to do. Bits leader. Gavril art design. Cool. Is that? I'm not familiar with that whole part of the Twitch culture. I need to learn about it. But yeah, I mean, thank you. Take this hat. Let's go ahead. Let's at least give it. Oh, that's not what we wanted. We want the hat to have the color, you silly goose. All right. Now, here's what I want to do. Let's jump over real quick into the internets. And we'll say fancy Victorian hats. Okay. I'm glad I didn't have to specify female hats, because I might have to specify broad brimmed. Tea party hats. This is interesting. Les Gallois du Dimanche. I don't know what that word means. Dimanche is Sunday, though. Like a Sunday gala, maybe? A Sunday party? Oh, here we go. Ooh, that's the kind of thing that we want. That's what I want. Okay, open image and new tab. Do I have a PureRef file for this project yet? Let me see. Let's open this up. Load recent. No, it looks like I don't have one for this project yet. So we are going to start one for this project. Because this is how we do. All right. That's awesome. Precisely the kind of thing that we want. Okay. And there's not really anything else here that's kind of stuck out to me so far. This is kind of cool. So maybe I'll take that and save that to my PureRef. But everything else, I mean, I was kind of half hoping to see something kind of related to like that collar to that to the piece kind of going around her chest. I mean, there's this, and that's kind of cool, but it's not really quite the same. So, you know, we'll not worry about it for right now. We'll not worry about it for right now. Do I have recommendations on a good source of ZBrush tutorials? ZBrush Live is always a good one if you aren't looking for something free. If you're looking for something paid for, I actually have a ZBrush course. If you've seen the link down there in the QR code. Oh, you know what? Let's actually go to the Flip Normals. I mean, I have a whole bunch of things here in my ArtStation store that you can access. It's really cool. There's a lot of really good things, but then I've also got this. Yeah, let's go to the end here. Delete that. Let's just go to flipnormals.com. If we go to the Flipped Normals store stuff here. Yeah, let's just go to my library. Maybe that'll be a little bit quicker for us. I was I was privileged enough to be invited. I guess these are things that I got, things that I purchased or got. You know, let me see. Where is my store? View store. Here we go. So here is kind of my Flipped Normals store, and it's worth looking into. The cool thing about right now on Flipped Normals, I have this at a 31% off discount for Mermaid, and because it's, you know, it's kind of celebratory of like, hey, look, I got into Flipped Normals. This is a pretty cool thing. It was really neat to me that they reached out to me and that they wanted me to come sell on their website. So yeah, this is a very full, all-inclusive course where it goes through the full process of everything from the original sculpt, which is like super, you know, it's got all proportions and shapes there. But then I go ahead and take that and turn it into full production topology. And I go all the way through, you know, making clothing for the character, you know, because, you know, it's a mermaid, you don't really have a whole lot of opportunity for that. So I was like, you know, we got to add some value here. So I went ahead and show a few different methods for creating clothing, and then I've also got some 3D print process and things going in there. So really, really cool. Oh yeah, and then facial expressions. So really cool. And it's a really good opportunity to be able to get that at a nice discounted price. I should go through and kind of make that same sale on ArtStation, because I feel like I might get some traffic and some volume there. But this is only going through the end of the month. So if you're interested in checking that out, you got a little bit, just a couple more days. But yeah. Really, really fun. So yeah, finding that hat, that is amazing. I am going to need, I'm going to move this off to the side. I don't need to see it quite as I have been. Okay, so let's get this hat really blocked in. In fact, let's kind of shrink this down just a little bit more, move this down some. Okay. So something that I am definitely seeing with this particular hat is that she has this sash going down, kind of tying it to her head. This character doesn't have that. So this is just going to be kind of a big hat sitting on her head. It's just going to magically stay there, and we're not going to worry too much about how or why. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to get rid of this piece. Geometry, modify topology, delete hidden. We're going to say crease PG just to be able to keep that edge nice and controlled. And then let's go ahead and figure out this main shape here. So let's get this kind of pulled out. I don't want it to be such a squash shape. I want it to be more round. But one of the things that I'm noticing is that there's like this massive amount of bend, and there's bend in it going sideways where it's like wrapping around the head, but there's also bend in it kind of going forward, and I don't know. It's really kind of an interesting thing. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn on symmetry just for the sake of being able to kind of get. Maybe not. Let's see. Kind of get this to bend down. And then I'm going to use this also to make this so that it bends this way. So that's just kind of getting me a little bit of a start in the rough shape that I'm seeing. Let's kind of rotate it a little bit. It's definitely a little bit too much. Let's kind of take off symmetry, push this a little bit this way. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of playing to get this to feel more what I feel like I'm seeing. Because I don't feel like it's getting that kind of height in the brim. You know what? It's one of those things where I feel like I could probably do with maybe some more research into hats, because like this is definitely like blocking a lot of what's happening with the hair, and I don't want it to block what's happening with the hair. So tricky. Because it's such a complex organic shape. And it's gonna go ahead and pull this back a little bit. And then this doesn't feel like it needs to be quite as droopy. Let's kind of play with this a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes, so making things like this can be really, really tricky from the standpoint that that particular hat from the drawing, it's not working, making it exactly how I see it, because it's all 2D cheats. Now, one of the things I got to ask myself and got to figure out is whether or not with the hair... Oh, shoot. Are we having internet issues again? Did it work? It worked. Okay. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. I hate internet. Why does this have to be such an issue? I'm going to try to play with this idea of this hair kind of coming off a lot further in the back. You're making a lot more of a clump of hair. Okay, let's kind of take this off and try to... You know what? Let's go ahead and grab this. We'll say something like this, just to pretend as if it's kind of going somewhere else. Make sure that they're all different polygroups. I don't need the line on right now, so we'll just turn that off so we can see just the polygroup color. Yeah, it's always kind of intriguing going through and kind of playing with different ideas like this, because I mean, whenever you have a concept that's just one view, which, you know, in my line of work, you often will. You'll often only have one concept to work from, and so it's important to go through and be able to think about and ask yourself questions and and make decisions, try things out, you know, all these different little things that help you to figure out really what's going on. My son doesn't like meat. So we always try to get him to try things, and he eats things in context sometimes, like gyros. He likes gyros sometimes. You know, we'll make chicken gyros or gyros with actual gyro meat, and he'll eat them. But he's extremely picky in how things are presented to him. Like he'll eat ham, but only on sandwiches. He'll eat hamburger, but not ground beef. He'll eat. You know, it's kind of funny that way. So he was just saying that he doesn't want to eat frog legs, which, yeah, I don't understand exactly what's going on, but I suspect no one's trying to offer him frog legs right now. My daughter, on the other hand, she is really good about trying new things, certainly much more than he is, and yeah, so she's one of the things that she's interested in. So yeah, it's really kind of a funny. Sorry, it sounds like the garbage might actually be coming by at a decent hour today. Usually the garbage never seems to be on any kind of actual schedule, and it's really kind of a pain because on the days where nerds, on the days where I where I don't get the trash out the night before, the trash always comes early the next day. But on days where I have had the trash out, it's like it seems like it never gets here until late in the afternoon, and that's always kind of funny. So with this, I mean, you'll see there's a lot of there's a lot of form change here, and I'm trying to go through and literally figure out kind of the rough flow of what should be happening here. There are times where I have a really quick and easy understanding of what should be happening with the hair, and I can guess a little bit of it based on what it is that I see In the concept, like if you guys see the previous streams, you'll see that I go through and I talk about how. Oh, sorry, I don't want that. Make it bigger. I'm gonna take the concept, move it off to the side, or that hat anyway. So with the hair, you'll see there are certain bits of the hair that I can tell very specifically exactly what's happening. But then there are other bits of the hair that I can't tell very easily what's going on at all. And things that I'm looking out for to help describe those shapes include things like this highlight coming through here. And so you'll see I've got this kind of coming in here a little bit on my version of the hair, and I got to kind of clean it up some, but kind of getting that sort of shape there to help support the idea. Good night. The idea of that highlight, the way that it's happening in the concept. Yeah, so you're getting that sort of thing going on in there. This is kind of coming up and over, and then it's got like a little bit of a dip in there. So we're getting kind of a change in our piece, kind of coming up and around, creating this sort of shape here, this sort of little ridge here. And it doesn't necessarily have to be super hard, but for me, I kind of feel like I like it being a little bit more hard, a little bit more heavy-handed, a little bit more obvious, because what it's allowing me to do is to better control the shape and how we see it as a viewer, how it supports the overall character design, how it looks as a whole rather than just as a part. Okay. So yeah, lots kind of going on in here, and that's okay. This is something that we need to be able to work out. Okay, kind of add in a little bit extra of a ridge kind of coming through here. Thought I had my lazy mouse up higher. You know what, that's going over a little bit too far. So now we've got a couple of pieces here that are starting to feel a little bit stronger, feel a little bit more kind of unified in their design. So that'll be a good thing for it. Let's go ahead. Let's keep kind of working our way around because I'm liking how this is starting to go. This chunk of hair here in the back, it doesn't go down as low as I have it in the model, so I'm just going to let's play with this. I think I might not have the hair go back as far as I have it currently. I feel like that I'm so conflicted. I am so conflicted. Let's do this real quick because I think that if we were to block in kind of the mass of flowers up on top of her head, just block it in, just like a lump of spheres, you can just like give it a big sphere here, maybe not quite that big of a big sphere, do something like this, and then we'll just kind of block in a few a few smaller spheres to make it kind of feel like the flowers there a little bit. Go ahead and kind of push this so that they're not on the bottom of the hat quite as much. I'm still like at a loss for exactly what I'll do with this hat, but oh my goodness, we'll figure this out. We'll figure this out. See. Okay, so we've got something like this going on. In fact, we could go in over here and we could say, let's invert that. Kind of make this fit this area of the hat a little bit. I feel like something like that feels kind of cool. It feels very off balanced, but these hats often do. So this is just a way for me to be able to kind of block in and visualize more or less what's happening with the model as a whole. It has nothing to do with what's literally there, and we'll work out the details of what's here once we have, you know, pieces to work it out with. But I'd have to go through and kind of make some flower IMM brushes, and essentially what I'll do is I'll kind of identify the main flowers that I see in this concept, and then I'll go ahead and I will take I'll make one rose, maybe make a variation of the rose or something like that. Oh no. I hate the internet. It's like that's my whole stream, is just saying how much I hate the internet. I wonder if it's still going. It's still going? Yeah, it looks like we're still there. There we go. Okay. So we'll just pretend nothing happened. Yeah, let's go ahead and grab Mask Lasso again. Okay, now this is something that, I mean, I'll go through and I'll add some more like ruffles and things like that once I get things all kind of, you know, placed. But you know, it's all about kind of working it, you know, little by little up as you get closer to the end there. Seems like an impossible shape to make in 3D. Maybe designing it to look like, but not exactly. Yeah, it's essentially you know, one of the things that we'll do pretty regularly is we'll go through, and it's like, you know, if you can't figure out exactly what it is that's happening with the model, with the concept, you'll kind of look at what you can figure out, or find a piece that you can, you know, decide on, and then you just make it. You know, you just it's like oh, I'm not sure exactly what's going on with the hair back here, so you know, maybe you just find a concept or find reference image, and then you just make that image. I've had that happen several times. Like when I was working on Hogwarts Legacy at Warner Brothers, there were several times where it's like the shoes were not very defined in the concept, and so my art director would go through and say, yeah, just make these shoes. You know, just make these ones right here. I like these shoes. And so, you know, it was it was a really fun way for me to be able to yeah, just to be able to kind of learn process. Let's kind of go through and kind of work this in, work this in. I really like sculpted hair. Sculpted hair is so much fun to do, but it can definitely be a challenge sometimes. My grandma doesn't particularly like the poofy hair, but that's okay. Um, and you know, she actually does have, you know, some valid points. She's very good about telling me her opinion, because you know she recognizes that sometimes, you know, her opinion might be something that she hits on something that's very on the head, and you know, when that happens, you know, you got to be able as an artist to take the critique and take the feedback from anywhere. If you get the right idea, it doesn't matter where it comes from. It just matters that it's the right idea, you know. And so you know, she's very good at giving me good feedback, you know, regardless of whether or not I like it or apply it. You know, she still tries to be involved in that sort of way, and I appreciate that. Got a good grandma. Oops, it's a little bit too. Yeah, something kind of like that. Get something like that, and then we'll go ahead and we'll just add in an extra little line. Okay, interesting. Okay, I gotta go through and check for something real quick. Minimize. ZBrush Live. Hey Sammy, that's an inappropriate comment. Everybody loves sculpting hair. No, it's yeah. I mean, this is a much more wholesome community than that. So let's try to keep it better. Okay. One of the things I like looking for and like trying to control is like you get these areas of like getting like these let me see, just draw this out a little bit because this will be easier to see if I can draw it out. So you'll get like this shape kind of flowing around, and then you'll get this shape flowing around, and you'll see how it's like it's thinner here than it is here, and then it gets thin again. So it's getting this thick thin sort of motion going on there. So I try to put that in different places, just as a way to be able to vary up my shapes and vary up my forms, and it really really helps to make the design more interesting. Um, let's see, something like that's starting to work. It's starting to work. I think it's just a matter. I kind of like that. In fact, I almost kind of want to try making this feel a little bit more wispy, like it could be made out of some sort of smoke or something. Let's try this. Let's go ahead, kind of pull this in, pull this in. Oh my gosh. If I didn't know any better, I would suspect sabotage. So sorry, guys. So yeah, right now I'm going to try to use kind of like a combination of clay buildup, the positive, and then using the alternative negative to kind of push in and dig out into this hair. And this is going to help get me a little bit more varied of a surface. So I'm gonna, it'll turn out quite differently. I'm kind of taking this and kind of pushing this in here. Push this in over here. Then we'll come up over here to the top and we'll kind of play with how this is kind of coming out here. Yeah, it's all about playing. So this is going to end up quite a bit different, I think, if I keep going on like this. But I like it, so I'm going to keep it. um, yeah, it's always a matter of just kind of figuring out what's going to work best for the design, and this is working out pretty nicely. It's got kind of more of a more depth to it, more interest. So yeah, just trying to add little bits of interest wherever I can. Let's see, what are we at? 256. Let's add it up to like 350 something. Just to give us a little bit more resolution to work with. And this is always kind of hard to see. There we go. That'll be better. I like changing my materials, and I actually really like using just this basic material. It's really simple. It's got a little bit of a sheen to it. Um, I wonder how a big city like Los Angeles, that should have a very good communication infrastructure, is having so many issues. I mean, because I hear it from so many people. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a huge issue. In fact, my art director is in Paris. He's in France, and he's got shoddy internet, and so it's like we're always kind of like joking back and forth about whenever we have internet issues, it's like, oh, it's not just me, ah, ha, ha, whatever. It's such a pain though. Yeah, LA should be better. And and it's like Spectrum, the company that provides my internet, they're always priding themselves on being the best internet in all of LA. It's like, if that's the truth, then that's not something to be bragging about. It's like, I know that my in-laws used to have Time Warner, and that was terrible. Um, but at least Spectrum has been working better for them than Time Warner had been, so that's good. Um, but it's still terrible, you know, and then it works terrible for us, and then it's just terrible. It's just terrible. Yeah, I don't quite like that shape right there, so let's kind of straighten that out. Always a matter of playing with these, with the flow. With hair, you always got to think about things like where it's coming from and where it's going to, and this is something that I talk about in my mermaid course, that I linked before. Um, you think about what's affecting it, what's causing it to flow a certain direction. If it's um, yeah, if it's got some wind influence, or if it's got some, that's not quite right. That's not quite right either. Let's see. Um, Wind, or if it's wet, or if it's, whatever it is that's affecting your character's hair, it's important to keep those factors in mind when you're thinking about your shape. Right now, I don't have anything really affecting the shape of my hair other than just being the hair. um, but I still have to think about things like I was telling you about like where it's coming from, where it's going to. And the better I do at keeping track of those sorts of things, of like, starting at the roots and then flowing out in its masses, that is where that's where you start to get the hair and the hair flow and the hair feeling more like it should. Okay, let me see. And I like to, since this character is so stinking stylized, I'm going through and I'm doing a lot to play with these curves. So, for instance, this right here, I've got this little bit right here that's kind of flowing up and over, and so I'm trying to play with these things just a little bit. I'll use some trim dynamic to kind of play with this. Oh no. Hopefully it's still working. It looks like it's still working. And of course we get all the helicopters flying over, so I just I've had it. I have had it. I hate LA. Going to use that clay brush and kind of dig in a little bit of a trench kind of going in between these two pieces here, and then right here I'm going to do something similar, just to be able to kind of get a little bit of a different sort of shape. I really like having kind of like contrasting volumes, you know, volumes going in, volumes going out, and sculpting hair, you very much want to think about how these volumes can play together to create something interesting. You see, it's 10 o'clock now, and we've gotten a little bit further. There's still a lot left to do to make this feel right, but you know what? Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to work on getting the tattoos for the neck kind of planted in here. Let's get our standard brush, turn this to RGB. We'll brush this on. I have no idea what's happening on the back, so we might have to make something up. Yeah, and then we'll just go ahead and, you know what, we'll hit hide on that. Grab the skin color. In fact, we'll grab a more of a little bit rosier of a skin color. Take that focal shift a little bit further over to the to -100. We'll get this brush alpha here so that we get a little bit harder of a shape. Okay, it's kind of like using the clay buildup, but with color instead of with the geometry. Let me see. In production, what would you say your ratio is of handing a model off completely happy with it versus wishing you had more time? Do models ever come back to you for more work after it's been signed off? Yeah, they do come back, and there is kind of that I'll call it kind of like that sweet spot where it's like you wanna be happy with it, but you also want to make sure that you're not overworking something for production, because you know in the end you have time budgets, and you have to get things done. That's just kind of the reality of it all, is that you've got to get things done. And so in order to really make things work, you've got to be able to hand things off, even if it's not 100% perfect. You want to make sure it's done, but not perfect. I'll make that distinction. That's a little bit. That's pretty important. So yeah, done, not perfect. And I find it to be, let's go ahead and Control 1. I went ahead and changed my keyboard shortcut to allow me to have Control 1 be to turn solo on and off. It's been really helpful because that's the shortcut in Maya. So, anyway, but yeah, it's all about servicing production, and that's what we're there for as modelers, and that's looking super cool. But yeah, it can be kind of tricky, but it's well worth kind of noting that, if you do have like a heavy deadline, you gotta hit. It's not something that's personal. It's not something against you. It's like you got to be able to kind of hand it off. And if it comes back to you, again, not personal. It's just something that needed a little extra something, and let's kind of lighten this up as it gets back further here on the neck. There we go. I like that. We'll kind of have it fade off a little bit down here too. Oh, it's looking so cool. And we'll go ahead and we'll emphasize some of this with some darker lines. But yeah, so yeah, it's really just a matter of kind of servicing the production, getting the best results possible, and sometimes they won't even hand it back to you. Sometimes somebody else will even go through and do it, and that's one of those things where you got to make sure that you are not absolutely heartbroken if the thing that you work on for production didn't end up getting used, or if it got changed, or if it got, you know, like little things like that. It's not about you. It's about the production. Um, so yeah, really, really important principle. It's a great question. It's a really, really great question. I'm just trying to like brush this out a little bit, give it a little bit more variation, if you will. Let's go ahead and we'll just kind of have this be a little bit of a continuation. I think that it's getting to be a little bit too dead of a color down here at the bottom, but we'll leave it a little bit lighter, just not quite as pasty. The tricky thing is that I feel like it was getting too pasty, and so I wanted to make sure that it wasn't getting to be too coloring that in. I didn't want it to be getting too white, because then it felt like it was too disjointed from the other parts. So let's come over here. Let's make this nice and big. I want to be able to see what's happening with the eyes. And then we'll come over here and we'll kind of paint our eyes in a little bit better. The opacity all the way up. Let's move that little doohickey out of the way. Fix the internet. Okay, let's see if it actually works. Okay, looks like it's working again. Okay. So let's see it. We're going to go ahead and we're going to grab this color right here. Now, if we just go ahead and start kind of painting this on, we can see, I mean, we're getting the color, we're getting a little bit closer to the eye and how it is. But one of the things that we want to go ahead and check, if we were to go ahead and select this color up here right at the base of the eye, you'll see that's quite a bit different from what we're getting, and it's not quite getting the feel of that eye yet. So I want to actually saturate this a little bit more, maybe move it a little bit more blue, and that looks a little bit better. So we're just going to kind of paint in this top area of the iris. Let's go ahead and turn it back to how it was. Kind of add some in here. Maybe darken it some more too. Back over here and kind of darken this in. I'm gonna give it one more layer of resolution on this eyeball. Now the eyes are not anything special. They're just really kind of simple, simple geometry. Let's go ahead and kind of get this pupil worked out a little bit better. Oops. I keep jumping back and forth between Photoshop and ZBrush and Maya, and so it's like all these different little keyboard shortcuts and navigation controls and all those things. It's all kind of mixing in my head, and it's dangerous. Let's kind of go through and kind of mix this a little bit. Okay, so now for the bottom, what we want, let's get something like this, where it's really, really bright. In fact, that might be too saturated. Let's take away some of that saturation. That's looking much, much nicer. And then, you know, just for the sake of being able to kind of complete the eye look a little bit better, we can kind of just add in a little speck right there. Just trying to judge based off of more or less what it is that Mikel has in his beautiful concept. But yeah, something kind of like that. Okay, she's starting to feel so much more so much more the way that she ought to. Okay, I'm going to go ahead, let's add in a bit more of the darkness kind of coming in underneath the cheeks. Okay, so we're going to use that. We're going to kind of use that as like a, just to be able to kind of keep us in line. Let's go ahead and smooth out the color a little bit through here. Oh, I think I got a little bit of my line. I didn't want to get that line. Just kind of smooth out the color through here. Just a little bit. So you see that's giving us a lot more of that highlight of those the planes, how that's looking right there. Now I think I'm going to take these cheeks and just kind of pull them forward just a little bit more. Shoot, come on. Let's go ahead and shrink this back down a little bit more, kind of move her out of the way some. Okay, this hair, we probably need to have this as a skin shade, just because otherwise, color-wise, it's not really working very well. So let's go ahead. Let's get this. We'll say color, fill object. Yeah, let's grab some of these deeper tones. Let's maybe saturate it just a little bit more, not a whole lot. Maybe make it just a little bit more, purple. Okay. I'm going to really soften that focal shift. Kind of brush some of that in there, just to be able to get a little bit of a variation to the hair. And we'll control this a little bit more later on and figure out kind of what's working, what isn't working. But this will help to sort of start that process of seeing things a specific way. See, let's do something like just to try this out and see kind of how this works, if I like it or not. Yeah, I don't know that I like it, but no, it's just like way too purple. But you know, we'll do something like this. Oh, that's not what we wanted. We wanted standard. We'll bring our focal shift back to the negatives, and we'll just kind of play with the highlight area here. Just to kind of vary it up and make it feel a little bit more a little bit cooler. I don't know. At this point, I'm just kind of playing. I'm just trying to figure out a general look. And it's not super working, but you know, it's not super failing either. Yeah, it's definitely way too purple. So I think one of the things I'm going to do, I'm going to come down here to the poly paint. I'm going to say adjust colors. We'll say frame, so we can see kind of what it's at. I'm going to say HSV intensity. I'm just going to kind of raise that up. We'll take the saturation down just a little bit too. It might be going up a little bit too high. You know what? Let's bring this back down to 0. Let's try it with the RGB intensity instead. Yeah, it's a little bit too much. Yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll pull this up. And then that saturation, I mean that hue is getting to be a little bit too pink. So I'm just going to pull it back toward purple, pull out some of that saturation. We'll call that good for now. Yeah, really kind of funny. Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's a good point, Raven. Yeah, I'll do that. 'Cause those eyebrows are up really high. Oops, I didn't know that was a. Okay, let's do this. And then I'm going to say, let's just use the move brush. Yeah, Yeah, there's a lot to kind of go through and tweak on this. Sadly, I don't really have time to be going through and kind of making all these tweaks. But I think this is one that's definitely well worth the time investment. So that's a good point. Oops, not RGB, the add. Kind of smooth out that end so it gets to be a little bit more narrow. Let's turn on our symmetry here for the eyes. Oh, come on. Transform symmetry. Yeah, it should be just regular. Oh, that's right. That's why I turned off the mirror symmetry. Okay, that's better. Yeah, and then there will be some things to kind of go through and continue tweaking with shape and with color and with all sorts of things. I'm actually going to be kind of stopping my streaming for a while. I gotta kind of get some other things done. And so I'll be off of ZBrush Live at least for the next month or so, I think. So as always, I wanna thank you guys for being around and for supporting me, kind of coming and hanging out, chatting. Yeah, it's always fun. I always have a really good time, and so I hope you guys have had as good of a time as I have, and yeah, we'll see if we can kind of wrap this up in the next few minutes. If anybody's interested in kind of finding me on social media or anything like that, I'll post a. Or I guess I'll post a link. I'll post a link to my Instagram here in a minute, but then I'll also go ahead and I'll post. I'll have a video at the end of the stream that'll have different QR codes that you can scan to get to. To get to my different sites. Whether it be ArtStation. Or Instagram, or my portfolio in general, my website. And you should be able to access all of that through those QR codes. And regardless, I mean, if you wanted to be able to check out any of my other sites, you can get to pretty much any of my sites through the Linktree stuff at the top of my Instagram profile. So yeah, I'll go ahead. I'll include that. https://www.instagram.com/smartist. Hopefully that's typed properly. Looks like it is. All right, so if you want to be able to find me, you can look there. If you want to be able to see any of my other links and portfolios, I'm going to go ahead and copy that link. Oh, not that, not this. That over here. And then, oh, shoot. Let's actually minimize. Oh, I thought I had more there. Oh well. I mean, I guess you can find my stuff over at my website. It'd be a little bit easier to find, I think. It's got a lot of different links and a lot of different things you can navigate around. Um, you know what? I have a hard time leaving things alone sometimes, and I need to get better at just letting things go because I'll be coming back to it at some point. you know. um, the mouth needs a lot of work. You know, there are a lot of things that kind of just need work, but yeah, we'll. That bottom lip is like way too extra right now. It's not plump enough, so it's like it's just all a matter of like making sure that the shapes are right and making sure that things line up and that the anatomy isn't buggy and yeah. Yeah. Okay, Steven, let it go. Let it go. Come back to it another day. You can do it. It's all right. Okay. But yeah, anyway, so we got her started. I mean, she's coming along well. It's just that it'll take a little while for her to actually turn into in spare time. Who has spare time? What is spare time? But yeah, so yeah, we'll call that good for now. Um, but yeah, thanks for dropping by and having fun and chatting. I'm so glad we finally got I finally got to see the chat. Figured out a system for myself. And yeah, I hope everybody has a great day. Go do something fun. If you're interested in checking out, oh my goodness, I need to fix this. This is something that is an absolute must. Okay, let's grab this, pull that down. Grab this, pull that down. Okay. That's better. It's like, that looks weird. Why does that look weird? And I don't think I've saved this whole time. Oh, I saved it to the wrong folder. We'll have to fix that. Here. Delete. Come back over to the right folder. Hit save. But yeah, anyway, it's all fun. It's all good and fun. So uh, I'll see you guys around, and thanks for coming. If you guys wanted to be able to, I lost what it is I was going to say. It was something to the effect of something that you guys might want to be able to do, but I forgot. Oh, if you wanted to be able to see like the spare time challenge theme, I mean, you're welcome to kind of jump on over to Facebook. This is a kind of a monthly challenge that I've facilitated, and it's just based on simple themes. Let's see, no spare time design challenge. So yeah, there's another link for you guys. I know I'm like link happy today, but there are themes for the month for the year. So right now we're getting ready to head into June, and the theme for June is injured. So that'll be fun. Ah, shoot. Okay, I think it might be working again. But yeah, anyway, so there's an opportunity for you to go through and kind of play with different ideas. Um, June is injured, July is healing, and so like just playing with like these different ideas, kind of moving into these, um, just trying to get you to think differently on very broad topics, and to be able to come up with something very interesting. Um, so yeah, it should be a lot of fun. It's always fun playing with things. And if you scroll through, you'll see different things that have been posted. Like here's one for Chard that I did last year. Um, Tribute. I don't think I actually posted much of anything. Um, yeah, and then people can go through and they can comment and they can talk and get different different things, different ideas going through. They're just kind of spitting out different ideas. So here's one I did for what was the theme for that one? I can't even remember. Undead. Yeah, I tried to make it so like he had like a Tinder profile. Trying to pose as if he's 17. All sorts of like funny things. So go through, do with it what you want, and have fun. Um, but yeah, that's where we'll leave this for now. And thanks for coming. Thanks for having fun with us. Um, we will see kind of what happens, and what my opportunities are like, based off of my work schedule and um, all the other things that I've got going on. Um, See you the next time we stream. But yeah, thanks for coming. Thanks for having fun, and I will see you next time I see you. Smartest out. And P.S. If you wanted to be able to see the QR codes that I was telling you about before, this should hopefully give you the opportunity to be able to see any of these QR codes. You can scan them with your phone, and then you can go ahead and check out different links, different tutorials like the Hogbot hard surface modeling techniques in ZBrush, or I've got my character modeling course on ArtStation. You can also find it on Flipped Normals at 31% off right now. So have fun with that. Follow me on Instagram if you want to be able to see updates and other things like that. Um, just have a lot of fun. YouTube, if you want to see some of my past streams on my personal channel. I've also got a Twitch, so if you wanted to be able to find that, you can do that too. And then if you want to be able to find a library of all the videos of me from streaming in the past for ZBrush Live, you can find that there. So yeah, feel free to have fun, and I hope you guys have an awesome day, and I will see you around the interwebs.